All right, all right, all right. Yeah, as we get rolling with, yes, this new thing that God has us doing. That's right. Welcome, welcome. Let those notifications go out. And as usual, we're going to do our, there we go, comment, check, engineering check, stuff like that. Yes. Like I said yesterday, I did not want to keep calling these regular live streams. So I asked God, I said, well, I'm going to call it something. And so he's like, well, I mean, it's part of consulting for heightened awareness, right? That's what we're doing. And so if the and so he's like, well, consulting for heightened awareness show, why not? I mean, they're all live streams, right? When we come on live. So that's okay. And we wanted to continue to bring Facebook some stuff since we took the Let's Just Chat show back to YouTube. All right. And so we wanted to make sure that we have something for uh, Facebook as well. So now, let me go ahead and get this formality out of the way. All right, everyone. Yes. Hi, I am Michelle Dickey, your host for the CHA show. I made it, we're working it out. Yeah, streaming on the YouTube channel Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance and Facebook at Consulting for Heightened Awareness and Michelle Dickey. And so comments on my personal profile for these lives is not, they won't allow that. So it's always best if you want to participate in the chat or ask questions, leave comments, what have you, share your own insight and things like that. We highly encourage you to do so from the Consulting for Heightened Awareness Facebook business page. All right. And I will get those comments, if it, while we're live, I get it right here in my studio. Okay. And so I wanted to go ahead and get on here and bring this to you. I came across another person who was preaching this, and it is so spot on that I've got to ducktail off of it because it is exactly what we're dealing with when it comes to the game of narcissism on this world stage. And I know the enemy, listen, you all he has is head games. Let that sink in. That's all he has is head game. He cannot stop God. He cannot stop what God has for us. He cannot stop God's favor on our lives, fellow chosen one. He cannot stop nothing. Okay? He likes to think he can, but he can't. He wants you to think he can, but he can't. Right? So I want everybody to keep that in mind because we're told in scripture, right? Yeah, for Jeremiah 29:11, right? Yeah, he had planned to prosper us and not harm us. And so when we're out here, I know y'all, I'm not sure what it is with the Wi-Fi today, but it is what it is, and it is Friday. So thank you for hanging in there because if it goes out, it comes right back. And so again, Jeremiah 29:11 lets us know that God has plans to prosper us. The devil can't stop nothing. No. Because not only that, what did we learn in Isaiah 60:22, right? Yeah, so for anybody who wants to see that in action, okay, yeah, I highly encourage people to hop on over to the YouTube channel if you're on Facebook or elsewhere, and just go ahead and take a look at some of the earlier videos in 2021. Not living in the past, just as an example, and then come back to one of the newer ones, and then check out some additional live streams. Yeah, because that's just a pure example of God hastening things on his time. He tells us, listen, y'all, God's a promise keeper, right? That's it. And so we got to trust that. Because the devil always wants prisoners of his deception. That cloud of cognitive dissonance that I speak of often, right? Okay, well, it's real. It's that confusion, that brain fog that the devil needs to get people hypnotized by, if you will, because that really is. It's a cognitive dissonance hypnosis is what it is. And he needs to keep people under that as much as possible so that he can stay in their finances, steal, kill, destroy, right? Okay, and that's exactly why he's doing it. And I know for a fact, y'all, that there's a lot of people who are looking for this community. There is a lot of people looking for this stuff. It's just a matter of time before they find us. They will. And a lot quicker than the enemy would like to think. Because he can't stop God. But he needs to keep people prisoners of his deception. Because, yeah, keeping them deceived, doing the deceiving. That's what God tells us about, right? He says that evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, being deceived and doing the deceiving. That's what we're witnessing out here. When we come across these narcissists, the sleepers, evildoers. But we can't expose their wicked ways until we pull the beam out of our own eye, right? Okay, that's why we got to do that inner work before we can get up here and do what we're doing. Do that inner work. But yeah, and so when the enemy can get people to become a prisoner of his deception, then they become a prisoner of their own minds. Let that sink in. Because we are, after all, in a spiritual battle for the mind. And so when that happens, that's it. They're not going to wake up. They're not meant to. You got to remember that. Many are called, few are chosen. But I will tell you this. That's not to be taken in literal context either, because you have to think about the entire world population. We really don't know what it is, do we? God does, but we don't. The enemy makes up numbers. That's all we... Yes, y'all. The enemy makes up numbers. Illusion galore out there on the world stage. And so the devil wants prisoners of his deception for a lot of reasons. And largely to keep them away from Jesus, because, well, we know that Jesus is the only one that can save us, and he does. Jesus is the only one, that's right, that we should be following his examples in his footsteps. Because after all, when we're awakened and we are reborn again, right, we're born again in spirit, well, it's not us anymore who walks, but Christ who walks through us, right? So of course now we got to get in his footsteps. We have to follow in his footsteps. We don't have a choice. Chosen one, we don't have a choice but to follow in his footsteps now. That's right. We are left without excuse. God tells us that too. When God reveals his spiritual truths to us, we have got to remember them and understand that we are left without excuse. In other words, okay, so God tells us to, for example, he gave me this strategy because God knows that the demonic realm out there and in the tech world are not very helpful. Remember, narcissism is not helpful. Narcissists are not helpers. So we got to walk that walk and do a lot of stuff. The Godhead and I have put it together because we know that the narcissists out here, they're not going to help nobody unless you pay them. Oh, we know. They're not going to help you unless you pay them. And so for many of us, we learned the hard way about that. Yep, about others out there, the narcissist clicking on our Google ad. Yeah, so we had to pull those because they think that we're in competition. See, that's part of the deception. Yeah, the enemy convinces them out there that everybody's in competition with each other. No, we're not. Chosen one, it's us versus us. That's it. Yeah, we ain't trying to compete with nobody out there. We're just doing what God called us to do. We don't have that. We don't have that spirit of competition. That's part of the deception. Big part of the deception from the enemy. And so all these little narcissists out here, they keep, and they always want to compete with us when we're not competing with them. Because they're deceived, doing the deceiving. And that's a big, big thing that the enemy loves in his narcissism game of deception. See, if he can keep people prisoners of that deception, then they remain lost souls. And that's what he wants. Lost souls. Because what do lost souls do? Exactly. They wander aimlessly about. Yep, doing exactly what they're being told to do. So when the enemy can get people to become prisoners of his deception, may as well put an S on the end of that. Because there's a lot of deceptions out here in this world. And so I know that the enemy likes to play with numbers and things like that. Oh, yeah. Think about it, y'all, with narcissists and social media, right? What do they love to do? Because it will do that to them, right? Yeah, I see what the enemy did. As more people pop in. Yeah, you did not increase my dopamine. Get behind me, Satan. You cannot manipulate my brain chemistry like that anymore. The joke is on the enemy. The joke is on the enemy. Once we break that trauma bond to the world, y'all, that's it. We don't allow the enemy or his flying monkey narcissist out here to manipulate our brain chemistry like that anymore, because we see what he's trying to do. Yeah, he's trying to, that emotional push-pull. And so we don't fall for it anymore, because that's part of the deception on the world stage. And so for those who are not familiar yet with the CHA show, it is structured very much like our Drive-By with Michelle TV show on Saturday. See, we are taking what we learn and putting it into action. That's what God needs to see us do. So I'm going to say a thank you in advance for those of you who understand that as a ministry and small business, we have work to do. So we have 15-minute segments, and then you will be introduced to a 60-second or less. We try to keep them a minute or less, okay? Just one. Brief, faceless promo, okay? Like a commercial. Because y'all don't know what we got for you if I don't tell you, right? That's right. And so I'm just giving you a heads up that that's what you're going to see. And I'm going to keep the CHA show 1 hour at best, okay? We'll cap it at the 1 hour mark. And so you will see this show Sunday evening, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 days a week. Okay, and then we have the Motivational Monday show also on YouTube and Facebook. So you basically will have 5 lives structured as such. Okay, because if it's a show, I gotta treat it like it, right? Okay. And we know that with the game of narcissism being played out there, with all its deceptions and things like that, it's going to keep people deceived. Absolutely. And so it is time for a quick profit break. Stay tuned to learn more about the devil and his prisoners of deception and more when we come back. Individual consulting and coaching sessions are available every Tuesday through Sunday to help you overcome trauma, unpack that bag, or whatever you need help with. Sorting through the mud and the muck of being lied to about everything during the abuse takes time, and overcoming triggers is 100% possible. All individual consulting and coaching sessions are eligible for easy monthly payments using ShopPay at checkout. You can check the available days and times for individual consulting and coaching sessions on CHA's website at CDHRWDRMD.org and clicking on individual sessions in the navigation menu. The Godhead and I look forward to helping you overcome trauma, unpack that bag, or anything you need help with. Sending love and light always. All right. I gotta watch that mic because it mutes my mic in the studio. Welcome back. I am Michelle Dickey, your host for the CHA show, streaming on the YouTube channel Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance, and Facebook at Consulting for Heightened Awareness. That's right. And Michelle Dickey. And that was a great way to test the spirit by the spirit, baby. So only 2 of y'all stayed with me. All right. See? Way to test the spirit right there. And then I know some of y'all have Wi-Fi stuff going on. So I'm not talking about y'all. We all have Wi-Fi thingies and stuff like that. Okay? But if I see that there's a decent amount of viewers, right? And then we go to a quick profit break and they fall off, well, but whoever needs that, don't let that discourage you. Keep on keeping on because you got to promote yourself. Okay? You got to. The 5P. Okay? That's right. And we understand that. Sure. Because we stopped complaining about advertisement once we stepped into the entrepreneurial world ourselves. That's part of recognizing the moot in our own eyes. We quit complaining about them. The enemy loves to hear people complain about advertisement and ads. Oh yeah, he loves to hear people complain about those. That's why you're going to see more of them. Think about it. People complain about the ads on YouTube videos all the time. And I'm like, well, we don't have any control over that. YouTube is going to put videos on those of us. We're not, yeah. I mean, whether we're monetized or not, YouTube does what YouTube does. So YouTube has slapped some ads on my videos as well. Nothing I can do about it. And so God told me to tap into that technique so that we could start keeping our services and things that we have for you all in rotation. And I am not in a position to pay anyone else to advertise on my behalf. October of 2023. So I'm being real with y'all because I had to learn the lesson about Google Ads myself, okay? Not anything bad against them. It's just that we know there's evildoers out here who think that, yeah, because what does the enemy want? He wants to steal, right? He wants to deplete your advertising budget so that you can't advertise anymore. Well, we find ways around that resistance because, I mean, when we realize, for those of us that God put it in us, if we realize we are radio and TV personality, there's no reason why we cannot do our own advertising. No excuse. We've got the tools. We've got the talent. We've got the wherewithal to do it. So we do it. Put it in action. And so again, thank you all for understanding. But those prisoners of deception become prisoners of their own mind. And that's what we learn about the narcissist out here, is that they become prisoners of their own minds for the simple fact that, well, they don't know anything else because they're only going by what they've been taught by the world, all that worldly garbage that they believe to be true. Because when we are awakened and our subconscious is awake and aware and we're getting that heightened awareness. See, I know the enemy doesn't want people getting heightened awareness. I understand that. But that's too bad Because what do we know about God, right? Greater is he that is in us than he who is in the world. So God is God is always going to send people across our path to get us where we need to be. And so I'm fully aware that there are many out here who would love to join the community, but the enemy got them afraid to, because the enemy had them convinced that he's going to punish them. He can't do nothing to y'all. And I'm going to give y'all an example. Yeah, it's like the platform, whoever it is, and we're staying in prayer that the good guys catch on and put a stop to it for the YouTube channel, okay? Yep, we know the good guys there too. And we're praying they catch on. That's right. Because if anybody is trying to censor anything, which there's no reason to, because we're speaking God's spiritual truth, I'm not the only one out here ministering, on that platform and elsewhere. I'm not the only one. So come on now. But the enemy wants to, he wants to trick us into taking it personally, and we're not. We know he's being stupid. That's all he can do, is be stupid. And so I know that's why he got a lot of people discouraged from joining this community, but eventually they will. God already showed me. Because it's a simple fact that the enemy's time is always short. So he can no longer deceive us, right? He can no longer deceive God's chosen one, because God tells us he's going to reveal all. God says that he's not going to have us ignorant to the enemy's devices. And I know the enemy loves to play with numbers. That's part of the game of deception, you all. That is part of the enemy's deception. He uses numerology against humanity. That's another part of it right there. So he tricks people into thinking that if you start seeing things like, you look at the clock and it says 11:11, that somehow, that I'm like, in 12 hours, it's going to be 11 after 11 again. And then another 12 hours after that. It means absolutely zilch. But that's how the enemy uses numerology, which is part of witchcraft, by the way. And so we want to be mindful. That's right. And the thing is, you all, I'm going to make it clear here. I am not looking over here to see how many people. I'll notice it because it's right next to the clock, but I'm watching the clock, okay? The enemy probably thinks that I'm over here checking to see how many people, want to see if I get discouraged. No, I know y'all can catch this stuff on the replay. Come on now. I know people can, they'll see the title, right? And they'll be like, they're going to want to hear what we talked about. And so they will tap in. And a huge thank you to all of you that click that thumbs up. Yes, thank you. And leave comments. Ask your question. That's what we're here for. Consulting for Heightened Awareness, CHA, all about getting that spiritual awareness. That's what it is. Being consciously aware of the subconscious. Okay? Because God awakened that so that we're able to catch when the enemy is trying to get a deception or a negative message into that subconscious. Allow it in there. Ooh. We have that power and authority on the inside of us to not let that happen. Okay? He wants to get all those deceptions inside the subconscious mind. And never forget that he uses subliminal messaging to do that. That's the real thing. Okay, subliminal messaging. I'm going to give y'all an example. when the Jezebel kept saying the word, yes, if what they do is they pick a word that can be associated with that they might be afraid of, but we're not, never have been. We're fully aware of any negative outcomes for this habit or that habit, but we don't dwell on it. Because what a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And the enemy knows this. It's all part of that deception. And I know that for us at Consulting for Heightened Awareness, ask yourself this question. All right? If they don't want to join or sit through or participate or what have you in these live streams and things like that, if they don't want to, they ought to not even pop in. But I know curiosity gets the best of people. And so I thank all y'all for hitting the thumbs up and the likes, okay? The little heart on Facebook, thank you. But God has us doing these things. He said, honey child, he said, we're paying for that streaming software, so we're going to use it. You darn right. I'm paying to use this stuff, so we're going to use it. And we wanted to make sure we have messages and content on Facebook as well. We didn't want to take everything away from y'all over there, okay? So we got to be mindful of the enemy deception. And you'll notice it a lot quicker the more aware you become. There's no getting around that. But that's what he wants to do, okay? He wants people to become prisoners of his deception because that keeps them, puppets on a string, playing the game of narcissism, dishing out all that abuse, aka witchcraft. And so we learn that, I know that the enemy would love to get us to feel discouraged if people don't stick around for a live stream. Hey, listen, if they don't want to stick around, that's on them. I know that our fellow spiritual warriors for Christ, fellow chosen one, will get the message. Absolutely. And that's who the messages are for. Chosen one. These messages are not for the evildoers. Never forget that. Because we are all about, that's right, we're fighting that spiritual battle for the mind, y'all. Because the enemy, exactly. Never forget something. The enemy's head games are all part of that deception. The enemy's head game are all negative. So when a fellow warrior shared with me that YouTube stopped showing our channel content in their feed, it's not going to be for long, I can tell you that. That's right. Okay? Because there's no reason for that. But as chosen ones of go-getters, we don't let that stop us. If we know we are subscribed to a channel or we're part of a growing community, right? Okay, if we know that we enjoy another content creator's content and we don't see it in the feed, we could search it. We find it. So for anybody, all right, who may have experienced that or is experiencing that on the YouTube side of things, I wouldn't say the only, but one of the best suggestions I have for you is to bookmark the My Social page of the website, CDHRWDRMD.org, because the YouTube channel link is on that page. And if for whatever reason YouTube starts trying to play a head game with you on that, because you start to participate and you're starting to genuinely support this ministry and the work, okay, you can just go right to the My Social page, click on the YouTube link, and boom, all right, you're on the channel. That's the workaround. All right, time for a quick profit break. All right, yeah, stay tuned to learn more about the enemy and his prisoners of deception and more when we come back. Are you noticing toxic coworkers, aka narcissists? The course, How to Deal with Toxic Coworkers at CHA Academy is for you. You will learn 5 tried and true techniques for how to deal with toxic narcissists in any environment, at work, home, or in public. The course, How to Deal with Toxic Coworkers, is also a great addition to any employee training package for employers. Once equipped with these tools for dealing with toxic coworkers, you can fine-tune and tweak each step for dealing with narcissists in any environment. And if you need help with that, just reach out and the Godhead and I will help you. I look forward to seeing you at CHA Academy, where iron sharpens iron with fellow spiritual warriors for Christ. Sending love and light always. All right. I have to watch for the microphone to unmute for a second. So welcome back. I am Michelle Dickey, your host for the CHA Show, streaming on the YouTube channel Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance, and Facebook at Consulting for Heightened Awareness and Michelle Dickey. All right, and as I've said before, those typically I'm trying to keep them a minute or less. Okay, so on average, I think they're about 51 seconds or so when we do those. Okay, and that's very similar to what we do with our drive-by with Michelle on the Bold Brave TV network on Saturday. That's what I had to learn. What we're learning, right? Yeah, put into action what we have learned. Okay, so yep, because action creates traction. Oh, let me go ahead and let y'all know then. Okay, this is for November 26th of 2023. For anybody who's interested, you can get your ticket. And yes, I got hair growing back, so it's gonna tickle a little bit here and there. All right, November 26th of 2023 at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, in place of CHA Let's Just Chat Show. Okay, you can hop on over to the website. Okay, yeah. Again, that's CDHRWDRMD.org, and it's in the video description below as well. And you'll find the CHA's online events tab. Click on that, and you will find the Action Creates Traction. Because see, this is what we're doing. We're putting what we learn into action to create that traction. Okay. Even though we have myself has already broken the trauma bond to the world, we are still pulling down stronghold in thoughts. We're purging that subconscious, right? Okay, so pulling down a stronghold, because traction is pulling power, right? Okay, so that's where that comes from. So we're putting what we learn into action to create that traction, to continue pulling down stronghold, purging that subconscious, the worldly garbage, because that's where I'm at, right? That's where a lot of y'all are at. And so you can attend that online coaching event. When you get your ticket, it's a digital ticket. I'm going to know you got your ticket, okay? I'm going to know. And they're going to come with an unlisted YouTube link. You want to save that link. Okay, that's the link where you'll be able to catch the live at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, November 6th, 2023. That's a Sunday. All right, and for that price, here's your perk. I did the research. Okay, you all, I did the research. And since we are a professional business, all right, that's the average rate for these types of events. So I'm not just I'm not pulling numbers out of thin air. I do my research. And I figure an average there. And what category that's what we're supposed to do. Okay. We have to identify what category we fall into. And it's like, oh, okay. All right. It's part of the market, right? All right. So the biggest perk with that is once you get that link, you have access to the replay, however long you need access. As long as you save that link, you'll be able to go back and listen to the event again. And then also, even if you're unable to attend the live stream, you still want to get your ticket because that's your perk. You'll get to catch it on the replay. I'm not going to take it down. As long as you have that video link, you'll be able to catch that. Okay? And we're going to, I'm going to try to cap it to about an hour, but I'm going to give you some action steps and tips. As always, with the Word of God. All right. And then we're going to give you tried and true techniques, all that good stuff. All right. So there you go. Website link is in the description below for the Action Creates Traction online coaching event. All right. So no deception there. I had to go there. I had to go there. All right, everybody. But yeah, we learned not fall for the enemy's deceptions anymore. Let me give y'all some examples, okay? Because we see this. When you see examples of cognitive dissonance all the time. Oh, yeah. And a good example is one on the signs out here. When I go for my walk on the sidewalks, there's little saying on these little signs and trying to tell me that there's always something new coming to this town. And I said, well, I have been here now for several months. Ain't been nothing new. Remember, Ecclesiastes 1:9, right? God tells us that it gets to that point where there is nothing new under the sun. But with God's chosen one as co-creators with our Creator, we're always doing a new thing. But then after it's not new anymore after we do it. You right? So in other words, our pilot show for the CHA show aired yesterday, October 26th of 2023. Okay, and we were testing out the waters. And we realized that we didn't want to say, just saw the clock, because obviously we're watching the clock. Because we know that we've got to do what? Take a quick profit break eventually. So we don't need to say that. So that was, you'll hear that in the pilot episode, okay, from yesterday. And so we learned that there is nothing new under the sun out there. It really is just, they fine tune and tweak, okay? Just like what we're doing on the YouTube channel, fine tuning and tweaking, right? Oh, we'll still have content coming to you all. And whenever God reveals something, oh yeah, we're going to bring it when he tells us to, absolutely. And, being of the enemy's deception is nowhere to be. Oh my goodness. It's not a coincidence that God tells us in his word often that be not deceived, right? Now we understand he's telling us this for a reason, but he knows we have to learn of the deception first. Like the narcissism side of marketing, 80% deception, 20% legit. Yeah, watch out for that. Okay, because we do not participate in that. We're not conformed to this world. Those who participate in that type of marketing are conformed to this world. Okay, we are engaging in more peaceful, on the peaceful side of marketing, because we have to market. And I can see that the enemy would be throwing temper tantrums too, because again, he cannot control God. So he's only trying to give off the appearance. See, remember something, you all, that is a big part of the deception. The game of narcissism is deception, right? Okay, so a big part of that is giving off appearances of things as though they are. When we realize that, wait a minute, we start questioning everything, right? Oh, yeah, we're questioning everything. Absolutely, 100%. And we're supposed to, because we realize that, my goodness, so many things to unlearn so that we can relearn. Yeah. And make room for God's wisdom. Getting rid of all that deception, that worldly garbage, purging that subconscious. Very, very important. And so we do bring you all things from the rabbit hole here and there. For those of you who are unaware that, yeah, the enemy can only manipulate the weather so much. God is still in control, okay? The enemy can only manipulate that to an extent, just like these narcissists can only manipulate us to an extent before we start to see through it. Okay, so never forget that, because all part of that deception, well, the enemy needs to manipulate in order to deceive. Let that sink in. He has to manipulate our brain chemistry in order to keep people deceived. That's how he did it. Because as soon as we were born into this world, born into this fallen world, we got trauma bonded to the world. Absolutely. We sure did. Because that's what made it easier to be trauma bonded to a narcissistic abuser. These narcissists out here. So I'm here to remind whoever needs it that once we break that trauma bond to the world, 1 Timothy 6:7, oh man. Once we break that, that's right, once we break it, we are not going to get trauma bonded to another narcissist ever again, especially once we know what's going on inside the brain and the body during the trauma bonding process. And so you will learn more about that later on. Okay, we are going to, yes, we have already given you all some of our, we've got our course preview video. And so you'll see that in the thumbnail title on Facebook and YouTube. All right, you will see the one for the Trauma Bond course. That preview is titled Why the Trauma Bond course at CHA Academy is important. And then on our course landing pages, you will now find some 5-star reviews for that one, 5-star review for the How to Deal with Toxic Coworkers course, the one you just saw a brief ad for. And it is, being highly recommended, because we got to know this is God's wisdom. With God's wisdom, we are equipped with the knowledge and the tools and the understanding that God did not put us on this planet to be doormats to these evildoers. He did not put us on this planet to be manipulated like that. And so we, chosen one, we learn how to not let them manipulate us anymore, because we can pick up on it, right? So, for example, whenever the enemy tries to, that's right, wants to play with numbers and then have, narcs. Remember something, narcissists do what on social media? Absolutely. They'll hit the like and then they'll take it off. Hit the like, take it off. Same thing with the subscribe button on the YouTube channel. They'll do the same thing, trying to play head games. And so we don't let it manipulate us. We just like, you know what? Heavenly Father, I'm going to pray in Jesus' name that they knock it off and go away. Seriously. Because that is all childish. Everything they do is childish. We know this. Okay. All right, you all. It is time for a quick profit break. Stay tuned to learn more about the enemy and his prisoners of deception and more when we come back.
CHA's Patreon membership channel is another place to support this ministry and work for as little as $5 a month. When you become a member, you will unlock access to a lot of content that will further help you purge that subconscious mind of worldly garbage to make more room for God's wisdom. We have been lied to since birth about a lot of things. On CHA's Patreon membership channel, we make real-world connections to the spiritual realm and more. The link to CHA's Patreon channel is listed in the video description below and on the My Social page of CHA's website at CDHRWDRMD.org. Thank you for becoming a loyal member of CHA's Patreon channel. Sending love and light always.
All right, there we go. Unmute that microphone. All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. I am Michelle Dickey, your host for the CHA show, streaming on the YouTube channel Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance and Facebook at Consulting for Heightened Awareness and Michelle Dickey. So we're going to just a brief recap, all right? And for this last segment, and I'm going to say a huge thank you to those of you who understand that this is a show, and so we must structure it as such. If I don't advertise what we've got for you all, you ain't know what we got, right? Okay. And never forget the links to much of what we advertise are always in the description below. Okay. Now, with the exception of some other things, okay, like business and employer consultation, forensic consultations, because those who are interested in those services can easily find those from the navigation drop-down menu, okay? So we're keeping it as clutter-free as possible, if you will. All right. And so once we realize that the enemy wants prisoners to his deception, we get more aware, right? We get more awareness so that we don't keep getting deceived over and over again. And I'll go ahead and share with you all something. I learned real quick that there's a particular network out here. It's not the only one doing it, though. So for whoever is thinking about starting a podcast, it's very simple to do. And so while I'm not in the business for, like, I'm not promoting them for profit or anything, I'm just letting y'all know because that's what I found out, and it's what I use now for the pre-recorded CHA's Truth Seeker podcast that you will find. You will find the rss.com when you go over to the website, y'all. Seriously, if you have Spotify, iHeart, Pandora, what have you, episodes 29 through 43 are available on those other podcast platforms. Yeah, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, you name it. Okay, for CHA's Truth Seeker pre-recorded podcast. We still do the lives on Tuesdays on the YouTube channel at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. But these 30-minute pre-records are across multiple podcast platforms. Okay? And I found out that, I'm going to do the math real quick because this is a massive deception that we learn and we are not falling for ever again. Ever. Because we can see through it now. And the enemy knows that. They're charging about $5,000 per round for an easy-to-use platform. Oh, it's on Listen Notes as well. An easy-to-use podcast platform that will distribute our podcast, okay, to multiple platforms. Okay, they are charging $5,000 for that. Well, with some other stuff, right? And for a year on that platform, it only costs $150. That's a massive scam right there. That's right. So don't fall for it. If you get a phone call and they want to invite you for a quick, short interview, think about it. They're going to try to lure you in and charge you $5,000 for something you can do yourself for $150 for a whole year. Let that sink in, all right? That's a massive deception in the game of narcissism out here. So watch out for that. Hey, listen, I learned the hard way, okay? And we're not beating ourselves up. God said, you learned the lesson. But I didn't know about that at the time. You know what I'm saying? I had to learn about it. And so the enemy knows that when we are aware and awake and we finally catch on to that kind of stuff, that we don't fall for it anymore, because that network was trying to make itself look bigger than it really is when it's just a little bitty. The enemy is nowhere near as big as he wants you to think he is. That's another part of the deception game. Yeah, he's not anywhere near as big as he wants you to think he is. Remember, he's all about appearances, right? Okay. And so we're not going to fall for that stuff anymore. Not over and over again. This is why when I see things like people reaching out, watch out for this too, because this is how the world operates. All part of that deception. Love bomb, devalue, right? Okay. If you get an email, right? Let's say you launch a website or a podcast, right? And you get an email from a solicitor, really, that says, hey, I'm going to use my YouTube channel for an example, because I get several of these, okay? Yeah, I have gotten, oh gosh, at least a handful of these, okay? Every time the enemy wants to throw a temper tantrum, sends one of these spammers across my path that says, I love what you're doing on the YouTube channel, but your views, you have over 1,000 videos, and your subscriber count, your views don't add up. Like there's something wrong with my channel. I'm like sitting here going, no, you don't. Delete. Or they'll say something like, your website looks great, but yeah, I don't fall for that stuff, y'all. That's narcissistic abuse. That's the narcissism side of marketing, and it's very deceptive. And it's designed to make you think that you did something wrong. I'm like, you know what? I'm not listening to that crap. You know why? Because God guides our steps. And so how the website is designed is how God has us do it. God will have us go in and update what needs updating, which there's some projects in the making. There always is, y'all, because God had us put a lot of stuff in position. So now we are fine-tuning and tweaking, which is also part of positioning. It's what we do. Work while we wait. Okay? And continue to get up here, because now we have a system in place to be able to bring you all more live content more often. And I know that it's going to take a while for people to get used to the CHA show. All right, it's only the second day of it. And I know it's going to take time for, that's right, it's going to take time for people to get used to the Motivational Mondays. More people are getting used to the Truth Seeker podcast live on YouTube, though. All right, so it's just a little bit But we're still going to get up here and we're going to deliver these messages because it's going to be for somebody. It's going to be for a lot of people at some point. And so the enemy wants to trick me into thinking that we're getting up here and doing all this for nothing. No. God says, take a hike, because that's negative thinking. But he does have us reassessing how much free stuff we are offering, okay? Because we do have the monthly newsletter still available. You can always sign up for your copy at the bottom of the website if you have not done so. Okay, and with that, and then our advertising. And so what we advertised today was our available individual session, how to deal with toxic coworkers course at CHA Academy, and the Patreon channel. We have all those. Listen, you all, we did not just launch that stuff. Just like the YouTube channel, we've been building for over 2 years. Okay, so it might seem like we just launched this stuff. No, we've had it in position for quite some time. Now it's the promoting. Now we're in a season where we can start doing what we're doing, structuring out and organizing and doing it, sewing into, if you will, some techniques so we can pull in our crops. That's right. It is time, baby. That's what God said. God tells us when it's time. Oh, yeah. So that's why we got to listen. Listen for when God speaks. All right. So another update real quick as we wrap this up. You will probably hear in some other, I'm going to try and locate the content where I talk about, not going to be in videos, obviously, but my promo ads or anything else where I am promoting the virtual group sessions that we have at CDHRWDRMD.org, link in the video description below. They used to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Not anymore. They are now on Wednesdays and Sundays only from 6:45 to 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay, that has been changed since, but you'll hear in some other videos. So I wanted to go ahead and set the record straight that when you hear in older videos or promo ads that they're Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday from 5:30 to 6:30, that is null and void. Same thing for the virtual life skills session on Fridays. They're still on Fridays, but they're no longer 5:30 to 6:30. That's null and void. They also are 6:45 to 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay. And then the individual sessions that you saw at the beginning, okay, there are different days and time available. It's been updated to work around our shows and live stream and other things, okay, as well, because God said we had to do it. All right. And so you can always hop on over there and see. We've got 30 minutes. We've got some 1 hours. We've got a couple of 1.5 hours. We've got a couple of 2 hours. And then the 3-hour session is on Saturdays, available from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Just to give you all a heads up. All right, everyone? Yes, I am Michelle Dickey, your host for the CHA show, streaming on the YouTube channel Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance, and Facebook at Consulting for Heightened Awareness, and Michelle Dickey. Sending love and light to all fellow warriors. Thank you for watching, listening, and for your support. Till next time, let's show some gratitude to the Heavenly Father, and you keep being you. In Jesus' name, amen.